Interesting facts about deer. Deer belong to the order of artiodactyl mammals. This order also includes antelopes, bulls and giraffes. Deer are slender, long-legged animals whose most striking feature is the presence of antlers, often used to differentiate species. There are more than 50 different types of deer in the world. To be more precise, 51 species. The smallest deer are the so-called water deer. They weigh only 10 to 15 kilograms. And the largest are red deer. Their weight can exceed 3 centners. Deer shed their antlers every year, after which they grow new ones. An exception to this rule are the aforementioned water deer, which have no horns at all. Young deer antlers are covered with skin and hair, but as the antlers grow, the skin on them dries up and peels off. That is why deer with growing antlers so often scratch them on trees. The span of the horns of a giant deer, which became extinct about 7.5 thousand years ago, reached 3.6 meters. Reindeer are the only ones in which not only males, but also females have antlers. Deer live in a variety of places, even in Africa. Although, of course, most often they are found in the tundra and taiga. Deer are quite successfully tamed. During the breeding season, male deer become very dangerous to everyone who is nearby, and easily show aggression. Fawns can stand on their feet immediately after birth. Deer have short, yellowish to dark brown hair. The underbelly and throat are lighter in color, and many species have a distinctive rump patch, an area of light hair edging with darker hair. A frightened deer raises its tail and shows a white spot on the rump to give an alarm signal to other deer nearby. In addition to displaying a spot on the rump, deer communicate through sound and smell, and they produce a variety of vocalizations, from the roar of a red deer to the whining of a muntjac. Deer also have scent glands near their eyes, which they use to mark their territory on branches and twigs. Dung is also used as a territorial marker. Males will sniff the female's urine to see if she is in heat. Hearing and sense of smell in deer are excellently developed. The deer's head is angular, with eyes set on the side. The ears are oblong, and the nose is usually covered with soft hair. Vision, to a lesser extent, gives the animal an accurate picture of the surrounding world. Although the deer cannot accurately distinguish shapes at distances greater than 60 meters, it is capable of detecting subtle movements at distances up to 300 meters. Poor eyesight is compensated by well-developed olfactory receptors and excellent hearing. Deer run fast. The deer's legs are long and thin, well adapted for fast running, which allows it to escape from numerous predators. In the course of evolutionary development, the bones of the deer's legs became longer, and the weight of the animal began to be fully supported on the third and fourth toes, which eventually led to the development of cloven hooves. The second and fifth fingers are short and point upwards. The first finger has disappeared, and the bones of the palm, metacarpal and metatarsal bones, are connected into a single bone, the tibia. Similar evolutionary changes have occurred in other herbivores, often forced to flee from predators. Deer originated in Eurasia. The earliest deer fossils are found in the Oligocene layer. In the early Miocene, they spread throughout Asia. During the Miocene, members of this family migrated to North America. When the Panama Land Bridge formed in the Pleistocene, deer crossed into South America. Perhaps the most famous fossil species is the giant Irish elk, Megaloceros giganteus. Although this elk was not as large as the modern elk, their antlers were 1.8 meters wide and weighed more than the rest of the animal's skeleton. Analysis of fossil specimens suggests that the Irish elk was well adapted to life in the open and could run quickly over long distances. The common name is misleading, as Megaloceros giganteus was neither an elk nor an Irishman, although the first specimens were found in Irish peat bogs. Long before the Irish elk came to the attention of science, the Irish used its huge antlers as gateposts and, in County Tyrone, even as a temporary bridge. Deer are herbivores. Lacking upper incisors, they bite off food by pressing the lower incisors against the calloused pad on the upper gum. Their teeth have low crowns, well suited to their plant-based diet, which, depending on the species, includes twigs, leaves, aquatic plants, fruits, lichens, and grass. Deer vary their diet according to seasonal food availability and their nutritional needs. Fallow deer, for example, eat a lot of grass. It makes up about 60% of their diet in summer. As the share of grass in their diet decreases, the deer switch to fruits, which in the height of autumn make up almost 40% of their diet. The winter diet consists of woody stems from shrubs, such as ivy and holly. In severe winters, deer can peel the bark from trees and eat it. In addition, some temperate species, such as white-tailed deer, actually change their metabolism in the winter, reducing their need for food and therefore reducing the chance of starvation. This natural adaptation is so strong that in winter, even in captivity, if enough food is available, these species will eat less. Deer are ruminants with a 4-chambered stomach. When food is swallowed, it enters the first chamber, the rumen, where bacteria begin to break it down. Later, the deer regurgitates the food back into its mouth and, like cud, chews it again and mixes it with saliva. When swallowed again, food bypasses the scar and enters the second chamber of the stomach, the reticulum, and then passes into the third chamber, omasum, and later enters the fourth chamber, the abomasum. The food then moves to the small intestine, where nutrients are absorbed. Although the entire process takes about 80 hours, it converts about 60% of the cellulose found in food into healthy sugars and is thus extremely effective. Finding food and feeding takes them almost all day. Like all herbivores, deer must spend a lot of time looking for food. Studies of wild red deer in Scotland showed that females without calves spent 9.8 hours foraging in the summer, while larger males spent 10.4 hours. Lactating females with cubs spent 11.1 hours a day on feeding. Spending a lot of time feeding makes deer vulnerable to predators, but their propensity to herd and the ability to feed quickly and store food in the rumen help make them less vulnerable. Deer have many opponents. In North America, brown bears, bobcats, cougars, coyotes, wolves, wolverines, and packs of stray domestic dogs prey on adult deer, while young deer are occasionally taken by golden eagles. Jaguars hunt deer in South America. The Eurasian deer often encounters wolves and tigers. One reptile predator, the Indonesian Komodo dragon, is heavily dependent on the maned sambar, Cervus rusak timorensis. Deer have long been hunted by people. Other causes of death can be fights between males, car and railway accidents, falling through ice, drowning in swampy areas, getting stuck in fences or trees, falling into forest fires, falling off cliffs. Many deer shot by hunters are saved only to later die from their wounds. Particularly harsh winters are also to blame for the decline in the deer population. Deer antlers are found mainly in males. Antlers are the defining characteristic of this family. All species except the water deer, Hydropotes anermos, possess these cranial appendages. Unlike bovine antlers, regular shedding of antlers makes them a current marker of deer status. Their size and shape are directly related to age and dominance. In the vast majority of species, only males wear antlers. Only in reindeer, Rangifer tarandus, do females also regularly grow antlers. Horns are a social and sexual symbol as well as a weapon. The huge antlers of the Irish elk were a long-term result of sexual selection, in which females constantly crossed with males with the largest antlers. This could explain how the gene for big horns was passed down from generation to generation until a huge span of 1.8 meters was reached. Deer have 3 mating strategies. During the mating season in temperate species, males use one of 3 strategies to gain access to receptive females. They can defend territory that overlaps the ranges of females, just like the muntjac. They can protect a single doe from all challengers, as does the white-tailed deer. Or they may try to collect and keep a harem of females, as red deer do. Males and females of this gregarious species spend most of the year in same-sex herds, which usually have defined ranges. Deer are involved in fierce fights. The fight begins when a contender for a female appears. The stranger and the owner of the harem growl at each other. After a few minutes of roaring, they begin to move parallel to each other, tense and alert, until one of them turns to the other and lowers its horns. The males grapple with their horns and begin to push each other. When one manages to push the other away, the losing opponent runs away. The fights are very dangerous. Nearly a quarter of the males in the Scottish study were injured during the rut, with 6% dying. A male aged 7 to 10 years has the best chance of winning such a fight, which the owner of the harem encounters about 5 times during the mating season. In addition to injury, there is another danger to the harem owner. Young males often hide on the outskirts of the harem, waiting for the harem owner to be distracted, and then kidnap 1 or 2 females. The obvious benefits of having a harem are deceptive. Although there may be up to 20 females in a harem, a male may father only 4 or 5 fawns. Female tropical deer enter estrus several times a year. Pregnancy lasts from 176 days in water deer to 294 days in roe deer. A female deer brings from 1 to 6 cubs, but 1 or 2 fawns is the norm. Most deer cubs are born spotted. The white-tailed deer may be the most numerous species of wild large mammals, with a population of around 60 million individuals. Dear friends, if you liked the video, please subscribe and like. Thank you.